Our next speaker is Sergeant Vic Balderas with SAISD, and he has got decades of experience with bullying. So I think a lot of the legal questions actually the sergeant can answer. So we're going to have a Q&A after your presentation of about.
If it's not past my lunchtime.
Yes. What? Okay. Okay. So please welcome Dr. Sergeant Vic Balderas.
I'm there.
Good morning. I've been listening for about an hour. A lot of good information. It's amazing how much stuff is out there. I applaud you for being here today. It's a great honor for me to be here. It's a privilege. Nothing I enjoy more than working with kids and talking to parents, because the parents are the solution. That's the bottom line. Okay. And I heard a lot of wonderful comments expressed differently. Same thing I say, but it's good to know that other folks are thinking the exact same thing. Right. What I'm going to share with you right now is a PowerPoint I do for middle school kids. And I heard a lot of different things, and they go right into my presentation. It's amazing. I've been with our district, it'll be 28 years in December. And in 28 years, there's been a great change in how the way our kids are being raised, what they learn in school, expectations. I mean, it's different. 15 years ago, we weren't making police calls to elementaries. Now we make them every single day. And somebody said earlier, I don't know who it was, about teens and preteens. I'm telling you that the problems that we had in middle schools are at the elementary level now. Unfortunately, as a parent and as a grandparent, I have a 12-year-old grandson. I'm an old guy. Our kids lose their youth so quickly. They lose their innocence so quickly. And when I hear somebody saying that, somebody over here said something about innocence, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing, because there's not a lot of innocence anymore. You know, I have a 12-year-old, and he's really naive. And my daughter and stepdad, whatever, that annoys them. I said, it's a beautiful thing. Take advantage of it. Your 19-year-old son, I have a 23-year-old son in college. And he lives with me only because he's going to school and working full-time. But one of the most precious moments for me is when I'm watching TV and he'll go to our bedroom and go lay down with mom and just talk. It's a beautiful thing. My 31-year-old daughter did the same thing. How many of our kids have that opportunity? It's not. And it's about character building. That's basically what she was saying, character building. It's more than just bullying. Bullying is just one small aspect that's a problem, not in our city, but nationwide. I do these presentations all over the country. I just got back from Orlando last week, and I've been to some inner city schools in D.C., St. Louis. I've done preparatory schools where they're very rich and have everything fed to them. They're having the same problem. It's a dynamic for that particular age, and we have to help them through it. It's an amazing, amazing phenomenon. It's my passion I just did a presentation yesterday for fourth graders, and the look on their faces is amazing, you know. And they need guidance. They really need guidance. They need parents. If you are sitting here, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, if you're sitting here and you're your kid's best friend, you have demoted yourself. Kids need leadership and guidance. They need a parent. Their best friends are at school. And best friends come and go. They have one dad, one mom, one tia, one abuela, whoever's raising them. So don't shortchange yourself, right? So we're going to go through this pretty quick, and I'll give you some opportunities too. Okay, we're going to talk about what a bully is, how it happens, why a young person becomes a bully. And somebody said it earlier, you know, there's a lot of variables out there at the house. Something's going on. Something changes this beautiful little kindergarten, first grader. You remember them? We used to come home with the little drawings and you put them in the refrigerator. You didn't know what they were, but you put them up there anyway, right? They're pretty. Ah, mira qué bonito, mijito. ¿Qué? What is it, a horse? No. It's a giraffe. So, what happens to this beautiful child, because we all have beautiful kids. And somebody said, the lady in front of me said, some of our kids are the bullies. That's the truth. All right. So what happens to this beautiful child between 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade to become a bully?
They get bullied.
And there's a lot of reasons. I'm going to cover those. I'm going to cover those. Something's going on in their life, their emotions, their feelings. All right? So, for the middle school, I use this definition. A bully is a person who intimidates or injures other people. The reason I wrote it this way is because the two main words here to focus on is intimidates and injures. When one of your kids intimidates and threatens somebody, they have committed a crime. It is illegal to put somebody in bodily fear. All right? And we give a lot of tickets out for threats. And you have to write that ticket, go talk to the judge, pay your fine. And it's a shock to some of the kids, and it's usually a shock to the parents. Right? We have to teach them that at a certain age, they're responsible. What age is that? Hold on. Okay, this is how it works in the state of Texas, because every state's a little bit different. I just got back from Florida and had to brush up on their laws. But in Texas, this is the way it works. From 0 to 9, they're considered a child. That means the parents are responsible for everything they do. A lot of times we'll get called to the school. I can't handle him as a police officer, criminally. I can do an intervention, talk to the child, because I love doing that. But criminally, I can't do nothing about it. School can take action, though. From the age of 10 to 16, they're juveniles. This is where they get in trouble. Ironically, we don't get too many calls to high schools. Because a high school kid has already made up their mind which way they're going. It's a done deal. It's too late. And it used to be middle school. Guess what? Middle school is too late. We got to nurture them right here. And when I say nurture, here's the deal. I get to visit all 65 elementaries, all 18 middle schools, and all 9 high schools. And I will tell you something factual. All right? Some schools are run by the administrators. Some are run by the parents. Some are run by the kids. And some are just not run. I call them like I see them. I'm very blunt and honest, okay? So, it is our job. It is our job, and the gentleman said it right, it is our job to be a parent. It is not their job at school to raise our kids. They're supposed to teach. Now here's the deal. This is what I see. And this is why our kids get in trouble, especially when they're making a transition from elementary to middle school. This is why they get in trouble. Because A, they may not be ready academically. B, they're not ready for the social skills. And the difference between elementary and middle school for the most part is at the elementary, your teachers are teaching them, they're nurturing them, they're guiding them, and guess what? They're also babysitting them. And when they get to school, they're not doing that no more. And all of a sudden, your child in the 4th and 5th grade was making all those A's. Okay, that's why. All right? So, back to this. Intimidates. Against the law to intimidate somebody. Obviously, when you injure somebody, you put your hands on, that's where I come in también. So, all right. Been doing this for a long time. For a long, long time. And I sat down and I broke my brain and said, okay, but bullies in different categories. You know, how? How can I explain this to the parents? Well, I broke it down 3 categories. First category is bullying is inappropriate. And what I mean by that is twofold. You're not teaching your child to be a bully. I really hope not. You don't feed them in the morning, get dressed, and give them a potato and egg or egg and potato, and tell them have a great day and be a good bully. That's not an expectation, is it? That's not an expectation, all right? So it's inappropriate. Inappropriate way to be, and now we're going back to that character building. I want my child to be a good person, have a good heart, you know? But what do they focus on? On how they look on the outside, right? On those Reeboks, those Nikes, and the hair and the mousse and the flea market jewelry. And they go, no sir. He goes, no sir, it's real. It costs $4. All right. I'll check with you in 3 weeks when you got that ready. Right? So the very first one is inappropriate, and this is critical because I'm going to show you how quickly it goes from there to there, and then they're in trouble. All right? Okay, so the first one's inappropriate. Second one's unacceptable, which means is this. When they're at school, now the schools can deal with them through the Student Code of Conduct. It's in there, page 23 or I don't know, 21. It's in there. It's unacceptable. Okay, now, just so you'll know, all kind of things can happen. Bad consequences. I didn't say go yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. That's one different. The last one is illegal. It's illegal. That's where we come in. That's where the law comes in. They'll call us, say, this is the principal call, counselor call, somebody call, say, this is what I got. And we go there and try to decipher, okay, this is what happened. These are the elements of the offense. Okay, I have this, I have that. This is a ticket. Put your hands on somebody, hurt somebody, that's an arrest. Okay? So, it can go very quickly from 1 to 3, boom, and it's done. And all of a sudden the parents are upset at the teacher, they're upset at the police officer. It's their behavior. And we have to continue teaching, nurturing, right? The most amazing thing to me, no matter what school I go to, the kids have all the answers. Because either they've already been exposed to it, they've seen it, they've done it, somewhere. I don't have any problem soliciting the right answers. How does somebody bully somebody else? Okay. Name calling. Give me 2 more. Insult. Put down. 1 more. Teasing. Okay. Remember those 3 words? Inappropriate, unacceptable, or against the law. Where are we at here? Okay. Give me 1 more. Where are we at now? We jumped. Threatening is against the law. All right. Teasing may be unacceptable, inappropriate. Once we get to threatening, it's illegal. And just so your kids will know, they make up their own rules and their own laws. Right? But let me show you, let me give you an example. If this person wants to make a report that she was threatened, that they told her, hey, I'm going to beat you up after school. Okay, so then I go to the person that made the threat. Over here, in the yellow. Right? And what her defense, listen to me carefully, her defense cannot be, I was kidding. As long as she felt the threat was real, it's an offense. All right? So, 1 more. Cyberbullying. You guys covered a whole bunch of stuff on this. The only thing I'm going to tell you is this. 95% of parents don't have a clue what's going on with the computers. All right? I know enough to get in trouble with my bosses. F9. Oops. Oops. All right? But more than the computer, our concern in our district, I'm going to tell you right now, is those phones. Because we gave our kids phones like they were candy. And we're irresponsible with that. And there was that sexting, and that last October, there was a group of kids at one elementary threatening kids at another school with the phones. So I went over there and gave those 5 kids tickets, and they had to go to court and explain to the judge, as well as the parents. You know, it's against the law. It is illegal. Be careful. It's a tool. And like somebody was saying earlier, the lady was saying earlier, our laws haven't caught up with the technology yet, but we're getting there. And who's further behind the technology than the laws is the parents. And it's just reality. It's reality. I learned computer only because I had to. You know, I was fine with throwing rocks and sticks, man. Assaults. Most of our assaults, listen to this carefully, most of their assaults are in elementary. Because our kids have not been taught to keep their hands to themselves. They don't understand. Because somebody was saying about the video games and TV, they think that's reality. And it's not. It's not reality. When my son, he's 23, when he was growing up and was playing, he was into the wrestling and WWF and all that, I said, that's fine. As long as you understand, it's only a game. All right? So.
Also because as parents tell them, no te dejes, no te dejes.
I want to get to that. I'm going to get to that no te dejes thing in a minute. Okay. Now, for parents and faculty members, where does this happen?
In the classroom, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Give me 4 or 5. Gym, hallway, to and from school, on the bus. Here's the deal. How many of y'all have kids that ride the bus? Anybody? All right, hands down. Watch. This one right here. It is a privilege to ride an SAISD bus. If your kid can't behave, then he don't get on the bus. Because we're not going to put everybody else in jeopardy. And we've taken a lot of people's rights to get on the bus. So now the parent is inconvenienced by finding another way to get that child to school. All right. Cafeteria, one more. Restroom.
Yes.
Classroom, okay. The reason it can happen in all these places is because bullying takes on approximately somewhere between 10 and 15 seconds to happen. 10 to 15 seconds that can be life-changing. Life-changing. Because of all the kids I had in 5th grade at Briscoe Elementary, SAISD, of all the kids I had in 5th grade, the only name I remember is my bully. That, you know what that is? That's being traumatized. And you know what? Back in the day, they said, well, it's just part of growing up. It's not. It's not okay no more. It's not acceptable. Because our kids carry too much baggage already. Here's the deal. At school, they're required and expected to learn so much more, so much quicker. Right? And then our kids lose their innocence as a child so quickly because of the stuff they're exposed to. And we said TV, radio, family life, could be a neglect, abuse, drugs, violence at home. We don't know what this kid's coming to school with. Well, how much baggage is this kid coming to? And then we wonder why they don't graduate. Let me give you a scary statistic here in town. They're telling me that about 31 to 32% of minorities in San Antonio don't pass the 10th grade. Minorities. And I tell them, and because I'm Hispanic, I tell them, you know who that is? Go, what's a minority? I said, me and you, bro. Us Hispanics and blacks. 31% don't make it past the 10th grade. So what's happening to us? What kind of life can we have? And we talk about goal setting and all those kind of things. I get into the whole gambit, the whole deal. And you go, sir, you sound like a parent. Yeah. Right. The one in the classroom is the one that's the most interesting to me because you're sitting there thinking, oh, my son or my daughter should be safe in class. And I want to tell you why sometimes that's not true. And we're very quickly to blame the teacher. That's not fair. And I want to show you why. I'm going to give you a visual why it's not fair to blame the teacher. Because bullying behavior is difficult to identify. Sometimes, you're looking at two kids outside from a distance and you can't really hear. Are they horseplaying? Are they having fun? Or is somebody being traumatized? We don't know. We need to be heads up, all of us, all the adults. Anyone want to wake you up? One more. I came up with this right here. I came up with a little triangle because I love to draw. Why bullying is not being fixed? It's different than gangs, different than drugs or acts of violence. Because I can talk to a gang member one-on-one, and I can talk to a drug dealer one-on-one, and I may have success, I may not, but I'm good with that. The bullying thing, I need everybody together. I need all my potential victims and all my bullies. Why? To encourage the bullies to stop and to empower the potential victims. Tell them that it's not okay. Strength in numbers. Heard that before? And there is strength in numbers. I tell them, be a hero for you and be a hero for somebody else. Go tell somebody. We've heard it. I've heard it 10 times since I've been here. Tell somebody, tell somebody, tell somebody. Oh, I'm not going to narc. I said, it's not narking, son. I'll give you an example why it's not narking. If I'm driving down the street in my patrol car and somebody waves me down, tell me they're breaking into a house, he's being responsible. I'm going to go take care of it. You do the same thing. Teach him that at an early age, you know? So, here's why it's not being fixed. Because normally, when a child's being bullied, they won't say nothing. But here's the kicker. Why? Because they're afraid? No, I don't think so. I have a different theory. People say because they're afraid of retaliation. On occasion, that might be true. But here's what I think. I think they don't have the skills how to ask for help. They don't know how to ask for help. They're embarrassed, not afraid. So they don't fix it. Strike one, right? They're not fixing it. If they're not saying nothing, they're not fixing it. That means you don't know about it. Strike two. Now, the more complicated one is the teachers. Because again, there's different categories. They're oblivious to it going on. They don't know what's going on. They don't recognize it. And on rare occasion, they just don't want to deal with it. Don't turn on the teacher now, because it's difficult to identify. All right? So, okay, go back. All right. What was that? Who said that? Who was it? Who was it? Wait, wait. Here's my analogy. Here's my analogy. Here's my analogy. You just saw it, and you still don't know what it is. No, somebody did. Okay, I know. I think we're not copy. Oh. Okay. Sometimes we're looking at something and we don't know what it is. This is a cousin to the giraffe, right? So the kids can appreciate that analogy. They get it. They get it, right? Next one. Okay, so it's almost lunchtime. This is a sad part. This is the really sad part. Once your child becomes a victim of bullying, it changes the whole dynamic of what they interpret school to be. And that's empowering a bully way too much. You know, we have a lot of stuff. A lot of times where we say our kids don't want to school, they don't like school. You know, and they're lazy, but maybe they're afraid to go to school. Imagine being bullied for 7 hours a day, 5 days out of the week, 9 months out of the year. You know, imagine that. Okay. And somebody said about role models. You know, adults are bullies too. Now here's the deal. Don't let me go to school and have a parent bullying one of my teachers or administrators because I don't play. Because you're a role model. And you're not showing that role model example at school. I will not let any teachers or administrators get bullied at school by a parent. Either we sit down and talk about it civilly, or you have to go. And what happens is, some of those bullies never break out of that behavior. The other thing about bullying behavior is this. I believe bullying behavior is a gateway to other misbehaviors. You know, I used to teach the DARE program, and one of the things I used to teach was that alcohol and marijuana were gateway drugs to other drugs. Well, I think bullying is the same kind of thing. And to other behaviors. If this is okay, then I guess this is okay too. All right? So, I make sure the kids understand what a victim is. The victim is the person that's being bullied. The one is being tormented and tortured every single day. It's an emotional stress that's very real. It's very, very real. It can get them sick. It can change how they feel about themselves. It can change their whole path in life. It really can. And somebody said earlier about, and all these beautiful things were coming up earlier, about role models and how they're going to do and success and all these things come into play. All these things. Next. It can make school less enjoyable. It can change where they feel comfortable on campus. It can change how they get to and from school. Makes participating in school activities stressful. Maybe that's why we don't have kids doing so many things in school anymore. Could be. I'm sitting in class with my bully for 6 hours, and the example I use is this. So about 2:30 in the afternoon, the principal comes on the PA and says, "Hey, Saturday, we're going to start this new program, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, put your stuff away, meet us in the cafeteria." So your poor kid's all excited because it's something he really likes. Could be chess, could be debate, could be sports, could be anything. They rush down to the cafeteria. And who's there?
The bully.
So we got to spend another 2 hours of quality time with the bully?
No.
Nope. All right, next one. For my teachers or assistants or faculty members, whatever, 1 or 2 bullies in your class can change the whole dynamic of the class. Where it used to be a fun class, now it's just like, can't wait to get out of here. Why? Because the bullies are there, and they're heavy. They're a heavy burden on everybody else. And sometimes the teachers are oblivious to that. They just don't see it. It could be something real obvious, something physical, like you have a kid in class that's 60 pounds, and this one's 160. And all he's got to do is look at him like, that's it. He's done. He's done for today and for the whole week. You know. I believe bullying is a learned behavior. I really do. And I kind of alluded to that at the very beginning. What happens to our kids? You know, bullying behavior is like, the parallel I like to use is nobody's born prejudiced. We become prejudiced because of negative values somebody instills in us. All right? So same with bullying. Maybe the parents are bullies. Maybe they're watching, observing that kind of behavior. Maybe they were bullied. Something's going on in this child's life. And I'm going to put a pause there. Well, somebody said, well, know your kids, be interactive, and do this, and ask them questions. But the reality is, there's a statistic that says that we spend 3 to 5 minutes of quality time talking to our kids a day. 3 to 5 minutes. And that's between making tortillas, fixing the car, or whatever we're doing. So if we're only influencing our kids for 3 to 5 minutes, who's influencing our kids for the rest of the day? Your child. All right? So here's some of the list I put of one of these things by itself is just an indicator. But if you put 3 or 4 or 5 of these together and that's your child, it's a red flag. All right? It's a red flag. Yeah? Because all our kids are different. And all our kids aren't going to hang out with all the kids, and you don't have to be everybody's best friend. But if you get more of these than not with your particular child, start looking into it. First one is, our kids come to school with anger issues. Something at the house, something. All right? They don't fit in with their peers. They don't perform well academically with sports. Everybody has a need to fit in. And there's another lesson I do. It's a basic social need. You guys all fit in together. Y'all parents. Y'all are SAID parents. Woo! Right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to fit in. I fit in with my church. I fit in with my group. I fit in with SAID. I'm part of the police department. I fit in. Our kids want to fit in too. And that plus they have an identity crisis. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they want to be. Look at the way they act. Look at the way they talk. Look at the way they try to dress. It's an identity crisis. And we have to help them through that. All that identity crisis, the bullying, the academics, the stuff at home. How can they succeed? It's hard. I would not want to be that age again. There's going to be I'm guessing 17 to 20% of our kids are being raised by grandparents. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Until grandparents, heads up, until that kid gets a certain age and this kid figures out that grandma or grandpa don't got a clue what's going on. I love my grandma. I love mama, but they don't have a clue. So my behavior may be different now. All right? The days of innocence are gone, man. The days I used to come home and run home, make me a bologna sandwich on a skillet, do homework, and then bust out that screen door to go play outside. Until when? Until right before it got dark. Right. Now what? We're doing this. We're doing this. My grandson hasn't ruined my house. My grandson stays with me 2 or 3 nights out of the week because I want to raise him the way I want to raise him. Right. He's got a laptop. He's got a computer. He's got a TV. The door's always open. What you doing? Low crawl. What you doing now? So, there is no privacy. It's my room. It's my house. When you pay the mortgage. And single parent thing, we go back to that a little bit. I was raised by a single parent. And my mom didn't play. She raised 4 kids, 4 boys. None of us have ever been arrested, have dealt with the law. We're all doing pretty good. We're doing okay. Right? And my mom had a 3rd grade education. It's all about the values, morals, all that kind of stuff that's gone to the wayside. All right? When my kids were young, my daughter's 31, my son's 23. I've been doing this for a long time, and I take it real serious. My kids never saw me drinking. They certainly never saw me drunk. They see the acts of violence. And my philosophy was, if I'm with them, that's their time. If I'm with me having adult time, that's my time. I never mixed the two. All right? Going hand in hand with, I'm not your best friend, I'm your dad. All right? And one day, if we're real lucky, and we meet up together, we might be best friends. Right now, I'm the man. It's very painful when your family members are being bullied. I want I was like fired up when I found out my grandson was bullied. I carry a gun, man. But you have to let the process work for you. You can't be indignant about it and go out there and try to beat everybody up. It doesn't work that way. You know, it's just normal for us to feel that way. But it's very painful to have a loved one going through that kind of trauma. It's trauma. A child that's being bullied is a child in crisis. Do not take it lightly. I tell my kids, and they're all my kids, all 60,000 of them. I tell them, you know, if you tell somebody and they don't do nothing about it, tell somebody else, and somebody else, and somebody else, and somebody else. Make an outcry until something is done. It's a very, very real thing, and especially real for them at that age. It really is. I mean, I'm telling you. I know we're doing a pretty good job of keeping away from the violence and the drugs, but this bullying thing is out of control.